Damn, the comment section is lit before I even start here. Before I even get going. Pick me up. I was a little tired. Sponsored by Polar Seltzer, because I hear this is the advertising portion of the show. Welcome to the Robin Lundberg Show. Going to get into the frustration around the Indiana Fever, and then open it up to some questions, whatever you guys want to talk about. I'll do my Cody Rhodes. So, what do you want to talk about? Whatever you guys want to hit, we will hit the remainder of the show after that. But there is some frustration around the Indiana Fever, and I was wondering last night how it could affect the WNBA as a whole and the interest around the team. I was actually a little worried about it, to be honest, because of how much, I have been dependent or thrived as a result of that team and this topic. And I know there's a ton of frustration around Christy Sides, the head coach. And it's not just from Caitlyn Clark fans, unless this was an accident. Because let me take you all down a trip in Alyssa Smith's likes. Alyssa Smith, of course, a member of said Indiana Fever. I'm going to find her Twitter account real quick. All right, I'll give her a follow while I'm here. And let me show you something real quick. I'm going to share this screen with you. This is Alyssa Smith's Twitter account, and here are her likes. Well, she likes that Caitlyn Clark is the fastest rookie in WNBA history to record 100 points and 50 assists. That's nice. She likes that the Las Vegas Aces this season, Asia Wilson averaging 25.5 points per game, Jackie Young 22.5 points a game, Kelsey Plum 20.8 points per game. First time that three teammates each averaged 20-plus points per game through the first 4 games of the season. And then she likes this post from someone named Gabriella Levine. Melissa Smith was a walking double-double last year, shot nearly 50%, just came off a wildly successful overseas stint. She took 3 shots tonight, icing out your young talent for no apparent reason other than she played bad defense that one time. Ain't the way to do it, which is a shot across the bow of head coach Christy Sides. Now, it could be she was scrolling and accidentally hit like. That has happened to me before, but very specific post to like, given everything that's going on and given the state of the team. And unfortunately, there is some bad news around the Indiana Fever breaking right before this show started. Injury news from the Fever. A real bummer. Let me see if I can find their account. Here we go. Let me share this with you as well. This is bad news. Injury status. Temi Fagbenle out, left foot. Erica Wheeler out, personal reasons. The first one, I hope everything's good with Erica Wheeler, obviously. But the first one is significant. Fagbenle suffered an injury in her left foot on Tuesday night. She will be evaluated again in 2 to 3 weeks. That is a tough blow, as well as Fagbenle was playing. But as much as there is frustration around the head coach, and look, Christy Sides' job is certainly in trouble, whether it's right now or after the season. If the mood around the team is no good and the record of the team is no good, even though they had the number 1 overall pick, she is not going to last long. Now, how Caitlyn Clark feels about her is probably important. We don't know exactly how Caitlyn Clark feels. Clark looked frustrated last night, but she's probably just frustrated they're losing. I didn't think that loss in particular was on Sides, that specific loss. But nonetheless, here's the thing. I believe that people will watch as long as Caitlyn Clark is playing well. I think that's what I learned, what I realized, because the tone around the team right now is not as negative as one would expect. I think because Caitlyn Clark had such a big game yesterday. Because really, a lot of the negativity was around Clark. Because people were trying to hate on Caitlyn Clark. But when you got the NBA itself putting this out there, Caitlyn Clark added another stellar performance to her rookie campaign, 30 points, 6 assists, 5 boards, 3 steals, 3 blocks. those were historic numbers, by the way, for Clark last night. As long as Clark is rising to the occasion, then I think they're going to be okay. And I don't think the frustration will get to a level that is, boycotting or whatnot. And I've noticed some of the fans like to talk about it and argue about it and debate about it, including here on this very channel. So that was my little spiel. Before I get to your guys' comments. I'll get to as many as I can. The comment section was prepped before I got in here today, so I got to go back to catch them. Please consider sending a super chat if you'd like your comment to ensure that it is read. You can join the WWR as well. That's the membership group. You get early access to videos. We'll be cooking up some other stuff as well. All right, let me see what we got here. Kevin Zwicker, of course, famous for the he's getting clowned for the Kendrick supporter versus Drake fan series that he and I have going on. He owns his Drake fandom very proudly. Smith liking her own burner WWR. Did she? I didn't notice. Did she like her? She has a burner account. Is that actually her account I was looking at? Let me just double check. Melissa Smith. Yeah, that's her account, right? I must have missed on. I must have missed the like. I didn't know she had a burner account. Let's see. Oh, they're saying that the Gabrielle is her. No, that says it's a litigation attorney. It's a very complicated scheme from Melissa Smith. Very complicated scheme. But of course, Kevin, longtime supporter, official producer of the show, along with AJ. I saw AJ had some comments in here. Let me see if I can track those down. That's a total KD move, Kevin. I thought I was rid of this cough. I'm just tired today. That might be true for regions without a team. I think areas with a team are still going to reap the benefits of CC, regardless of how our teams perform. Look, I mean, I think, fever games will be easier to get into as the season goes along. I even saw entry fees for like $2 yesterday. And maybe the numbers go down a touch, but I don't think they're going to tank as long as Clark is playing well. And in fact, there was some positive WNBA ratings news from over the weekend. Let me see if I can find that as well for you guys. Here you go. This is from Sports Media Watch. WNBA hits viewership highs on 3 different networks over the holiday weekend: ION, NBA TV, and CBS, and not solely due to Caitlyn Clark. So it's not the 7-figure audiences that marked her first week in the league. Clark provided a noticeable boost to some of the WNBA's lower profile broadcast partners over the weekend. Friday's Fever Sparks regular season game, 724,000 viewers on ION, making it easily the largest WNBA audience on that network, which began carrying games last season. Neither of the previous 2 games this season had hit the 300,000 mark. The first win was that game, of course, the following night. 333,000 on NBA TV, the most watched WNBA game ever on that network. And also the Liberty and Lynx game on CBS, 704,000 viewers, the most watched WNBA game ever on that network. And, of course, that game did not feature Caitlyn Clark. So good news for the WNBA as a whole. Good news. Jonathan Palbicki says, I will say this calmly, respectfully. A lot of us have been telling you, it's not just to bash sides, but she has never been a head coach assistant on losing teams for years. Look, I'm not a sides defender, guys. I'm not like here to defend Christy Sides. I'm just trying to be fair about it. And I know from my experience in sports media, the coach always gets blamed. Always. And I've seen organizations fire coach after coach after coach after coach and then not fix anything. I'm not saying Sides hasn't rubbed some of her players the wrong way. It seems like she probably has. I'm not saying maybe Sides is trying to assert her power maybe a little bit more than she needs to. All these things. and rotate. Like, I hated when she took Clark out in the fourth quarter of that one game. But I don't think everything has been her fault, is all I'm basically saying. That's all I'm basically saying. I don't know. This is pretty funny. Rocket Knight says, take a look. It's in a book. The Reading Rainbow. Take a look. It's in a book. It's Reading Rainbow. I remember LeVar Burton on that show. I used to watch that show when I was a kid. The Mighty Squid says, if Side stays, fans will leave. Christopher Little, Christy is obviously an awful coach. Caitlyn is a baller, and the whole WNBA hates her for it. I don't think the whole WNBA hates her for it. Vatamonia is her fault in game plan. So it is her fault for losses. Look, I mean, yeah. Harley Dude says no one could coach Indiana into a winning team when there was no time to practice. Look, I mean, that is true. And who are the players on this team, guys? Like, she can't play Caitlyn Clark every minute of every game. Fag Bentley's now hurt. Boston played better in the last game, but hasn't been impressive. Smith has shown flashes. Mitchell can score. Beyond that, there ain't nobody on the squad. Alan Burton, can the coach? I mean, damn. People want her out. Nancy, she needs to decrease the turnovers. What were the other team members regarding blocks, points, etc.? Look, I mean, Clark made a couple of bad turnovers in the fourth where she forced things. And my biggest problem is the unforced turnovers. She's going to have turnovers. She handles the ball all the time. And she's seeing the pressure from the defense. So there's also like an agenda out there to point out the turnovers because they're trying to hate on Caitlyn Clark. So just be mindful of that. There's definitely an agenda out there in regards to that. She had a couple of costly ones in that game. A-Chop says, so glad Caitlyn didn't take up Ice Cube in his offer to play in the 3x3 league. She would get destroyed. I mean, that was all a sham offer anyway. It was just to get attention. Ice Cube was looking for juice for the big three, not the other way around, you know? Caitlyn brings a lot more attention to the big three than the big three brings to Caitlyn. We see the attention Caitlyn gets. Vadim asks if my dog is named after the Fever front court, Butters, Butterfingers. No, my dog is named after the character from South Park, dude. You know, Butters, Stotch. That's what the dog is named after. But the dog is in the house right now. Don't worry about it. Ooh, I'm trying to get through these comments, guys. I'm going back to the beginning here. Futuristic. I'm going to answer that right now. No, because Caitlyn Clark is a rookie. Real basketball fans understand all the greats didn't start winning right away. Yeah, I mean, that's true. Brandon Bean says facts to that comment. I'm trying to highlight a lot of new commenters in here today, which seems to be the case every day. Oh, we got a lot of concurrent streamers too. That would be a reason why. I just looked at the data. Just looked at the data there. Orlando, I can't watch anymore because it seems the coach and her team are sabotaging her. WNBA is going to ruin her. They can blame themselves. I mean, you really think that? How many didn't Caitlyn have the ball every time? Like, Caitlyn took over that game yesterday. So either they're not trying to sabotage her, or she's totally conducted a mutiny against the sabotage plans. I mean, I don't think it's so nefarious, guys. You can dislike Christy's sides, but that doesn't mean there's some sort of conspiracy plot. That's insanity. Paul Husky says, don't think so. Not if a coach let her play her game. Fans go to watch her shoot and play her game. Yeah, I agree with that. That's where I landed. That was my main takeaway, is that as long as Caitlyn Clark is playing well, they'll be okay. As long as she is playing well, all that will work itself out. I think that's the number one thing. Tony Wynn says my interest has gone from 100 to 75 now. Oh, super chat from Caitlyn Clark. I dropped 30 playing against my own coach. Bow down. Well done, Caitlyn. Thank you for joining the chat. Caitlyn, I think I owe you money, not the other way around. I think I owe you money, not the other way around. But thank you for the super chat, Miss Caitlyn. I probably should have gotten to that earlier. Sorry, I'm navigating this. If you do send in a super chat, I promise anybody that sends that in will get that read first and immediately. But thank you, Caitlyn. Thank you. And working against your own coach, that's a lot you've had to overcome so far in this young NBA season with all of the hype and all of the expectations and the attention and your coach attempting to sabotage you. For you to overcome all that is very, very impressive. So bow down to Miss Caitlyn Clark. But Christy Sides is here now. Talk smack now that I'm in the room full. Oh, we're going to have a Christy Sides versus Caitlyn Clark smack talk fest here in the super chat. You know, I love this, though. You know, I got to be honest with you. I used to do sports talk radio. I still do sports talk radio at Sirius XM, but I used to do a sports talk radio show on ESPN. And when I knew things were going well is when we were getting pranks and gags like this. So I know this is going well because of the pranks and gags like this. We've got chats from Caitlyn Clark in here lamenting her situation, and chats from Coach Christy Sides, who everybody is hammering in the comment section. It's wild. Everybody's hammering her. Oh, man. Appreciate the super chats, Christy and Caitlyn. Thank you very, very much. Thank you very, very much. Any super chats are going right up. BKJ says, 08 says, Clark is turning out to be not as good as advertised and people are tuning out. That's not true. They're not. And she is as good as advertised. I don't think she's not as good at the expectations are so high if she's not as good as advertised. Because all rookies. Let me look at the numbers for the rookies real quick. Because here's the thing. For rookies, Caitlyn Clark currently is, here it is. Look at this. This is just for rookies. Caitlyn Clark has played nearly a quarter of the WNBA season so far, and the rookie has delivered some remarkable performances. Here's a look at how Clark compares to other rookies as we approach the first Rookie of the Month selection. First in points, first in assists, first in steals, first in PER, second in blocks. Currently the only rookie averaging 15-plus points, 5-plus rebounds, and 5-plus assists. Not to mention, she was like the only rookie in history to hit the numbers she hit yesterday. The only rookie in history. Let me see if I can find that. Yeah, here you go. First ever WNBA rookie to record 30-plus points, 5-plus assists, 5-plus rebounds, 3-plus steals, 3-plus blocks in a game. But not as good as advertised, guys. Not as good as advertised. I mean, what do we want? What do we want? I think I put this up before. Tony Wynn, my interest has gone from 100 to 75 now. Toots X. Toots. It's already having an effect on the fans. It was the first time it wasn't a sellout, and they had tickets as cheap as $1 for the Fever versus the Sparks. The coach makes it hard to watch. Coach, guys. Oh, Lisa Bluter is here. I could coach Sides with my eyes closed. Out-coach Sides with my eyes closed. You know, it's so funny. I love the affinity for Iowa that so many of the Caitlyn Clark fans have, you know, and it's always like, bring back the Iowa team. And I can't tell you how many times I've had people comment for Lisa Bluter. You know who I would like to see coach Caitlyn Clark? Is Mike D'Antoni. That's who I would like to see coach Caitlyn Clark. I think that would be a cool story. I think, I don't know what his health is like. You know, he had back issues towards the end of his NBA coaching career. But to me, the perfect coach for Caitlyn Clark is Mike D'Antoni. For those of you who are not familiar, Mike D'Antoni, former coach of a bunch of teams in the NBA, most notably the Phoenix Suns, the 7 seconds or less Phoenix Suns. But also Jeremy Lin. I made those Jeremy Lin. He was the coach when the Linsanity thing happened. Spent some time with not a great tenure with the Lakers. Did well with the Rockets. But we've had Lisa Bluter, Christy Sides, Caitlyn Clark, and Kevin. So we know we're getting we're blowing up a little bit here. Kevin says, hey, I love a good troll. This entertains me. Well, AJ Shriver says, good call on D'Antoni. That's the one. That's my dream hire for Caitlyn Clark. Wow, I'm trying to get through these chats, guys, but, is this Ryan Vega better than advertised? Do you have a koala bear? I believe that is my great, great friend, Ryan Vega. One of the best guys you'll know. Or you don't know. You don't know him, so you don't know him, but one of the best guys. Let's go to Kayla Mendenhall because she's complimenting me. I do appreciate your videos for being more well-rounded in your opinions, if that makes sense. Well, I mean, I try to look at things from all angles, and fairly. Like, I'm not caught up in emotions here or bias. I'm not a fan. Like I said, I'm not a fan of what's your face, Christy Sides. I just know what fans can do and how fans go after people immediately and lose their mind, and it's always the coach. So I get that would be the initial reaction, and I just want to make sure I'm not talking from the perspective of a crazy Caitlyn Clark fan. I'm talking like this is really what happened here with this channel, guys. So if you're unfamiliar with me, I spent the bulk of my career, well, not the bulk. I spent a long time at ESPN doing mostly radio there. Did some TV as well. Then I was at Sports Illustrated and did video work for Sports Illustrated, a little writing, and Sirius XM radio in between. But a long time of covering sports in general. So I have a really good understanding of how the media cycle works, how fan bases react and work. And when I started this YouTube channel, I started it not knowing the direction I was going to take it, specifically just knowing I needed to go out on my own. And I had some hardcore fans at the beginning, the likes of Kevin and AJ, and Ernesto, who I can never thank enough for supporting me from the beginning as this journey began. And I happened upon this Caitlyn Clark and women's basketball topic because she was so heavy in the news that 1 week. And then I just noticed every time I talked about her and that, people kept coming. And I got more interested. I was already interested, but I got more and more because it's a fascinating story. It's a once in a lifetime story, right? Like that's no bull. So once in a lifetime story where you have a transcendent figure, a Michael Jordan of sorts of her sport, coming in and changing the entire way the sport is covered. And I thought to myself, this is a chance. Like, you can cover this in real time. And in doing so, I wanted to be journalistically ethical and unbiased and myself, though. I'll always give you my opinions. Never going to hesitate. So thank you for the compliment, because that is the goal of how I've sought out to cover this. And I hope, I get people saying, great job, Robin, you're an idiot, Robin, all that. That means I'm generally probably doing good. Alvin White Jr. says, also random, anybody ever say you remind them of Max Kellerman? I don't know if people have said I remind them of Max Kellerman, but in case you didn't know, I came up working with Max Kellerman. I was an intern on Around the Horn. I actually lived with Max Kellerman for a couple of weeks when I first came to New York, but he was the host of Around the Horn at the time. And then I worked on his show, IMAX. And then I was the sidekick on his radio show for a bit in New York. And I actually watched, you know what game I watched with Max recently? I watched the LSU Iowa game with Max. And I remember thinking when I watched that game with Max, and I told him that, with him and one of his buddies, I told him that, and I said, this have you ever remembered us saying, let's get together for the game and it be a women's basketball game? So that is a little bit of the story there. I'm trying to get back through the chats, guys, and shouts to Alvin White Jr., who I know came over from Denise Salcedo's channel. You can catch me there Friday nights for the wrestling heads in this chat. We do a SmackDown reaction show over there every Friday night. I join her. She is huge in the wrestling space. I'm a huge pro wrestling fan. So you guys can ask me anything about anything at this point. We've gotten what we needed out of the topic. I'll keep going on the topic du jour, but you know what I mean. WWR member Sean Davis, what a day for the wrestling world. Such a different place we are in now. Love seeing the companies working together. So that's the TNA and WWE connection. For those of you who don't realize, basically, WWE is the big dog, right? Like, it's the Disney, it's the Amazon, it's the big company. But there are other companies out there. The main competitor right now is called AEW. It was a startup company about 5 years ago. Tony Khan from the Khan family, Jacksonville Jaguars, is the funder there. And it sort of started itself as a competitor. I mean, it branded itself as sort of anti-WWE competitor, WWE. And they're focused on the wrestling fan. And I know Kevin is going to Forbidden Door. I might join him at Forbidden Door in Long Island, AEW. But there are other companies, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and TNA was kind of where AEW was a little ways back, post WCW. When, if you remember the NWO, that's when WCW had actually surpassed WWE for a while until WWE took over and Vince McMahon bought WCW out. But you had an appearance from a TNA superstar, Jordan Grace, on NXT last night, which is the WWE developmental show, the third brand, run by Shawn Michaels. And the most entertaining thing to me is that DX now runs all of wrestling television. If you remember the Generation X, we got 2 words for you. And now they're in charge of all wrestling television. And I thought this profile pic from Shawn Michaels was pretty hilarious because DX is cooking right now. Shout out to Sean. He also came over from Denise's channel. So I always want to make sure I give his comments and post some extra love in here. DSI Sahande says, where would you rank, this is another WWR member. If you're a WWR member, you're getting your comments read first. Super Chats, WWR member comments going up first. Where would you rank NWA on the best rap groups of all time? Not that high. Not that high, to be honest, just because they did not have a long run. I think you need some level of output, like from an influence standpoint, high. From the hat and everything, coming straight out of Compton, and the iconic figures that came from it, Ice Cube, obviously Dr. Dre, but they didn't have much of a body of work to compete with the likes of, let's say, Wu-Tang and Outkast and A Tribe Called Quest, who to me are the holy trinity of rap groups. We just got a new member, TXZ06. Thank you. Welcome to the WWR. I guess I shouldn't do a Vince McMahon voice anymore. AJ Schreiber. William H. Film says LMAO. Robin is hood educate. Hey man, it's funny. I came into rap like in high school and that sort of stuff in high school because I was like the token white boy on the basketball team, and I ran track as well, and we would get into all those debates on the bus. And then I actually lived uptown in New York on the Upper West in a building. Shouts to Justice, Boo, Power, Ish, some of the real names, Felix, Sean. Shouts to those guys. But that is I didn't need to go into all that. Sorry. I just felt proud. William H. Film says everybody hit the like button. Thank you. Like, subscribe, all that. Appreciate that. Like, subscribe, comment, everything in between. I'm still working out the best balance on how to blend some of the stuff we're doing on this channel, and the best way to do that, and everything to that effect. Kevin Zwicker says, welcome to the WWR. Jonathan Palbicki says, wrestling by Robin. Oh, sorry, Jonathan. See you later, man. I mean, can't get that offended, talk. I've got fans here, too. Will Brady says, how did you discover Kevin? I love those videos. They are so funny. Yeah, look, I think it's, to be honest with you, I didn't discover Kevin as much as he's been a longtime fan of mine. He used to listen to my radio show when he was young, and we've always gone back and forth on Twitter. And when I started this, he was in here immediately and in here every day. And after that, I began taking some fans on and bringing them on the show. And then I realized, oh, he's good at talking too. And we just vibed. So I spun it off into some content, and that's how it's been working. And Kyle Ellsburn says, winning format on channel. I appreciate that. I mean, it seems to be the case. Judging by, the growing numbers and everything, it would seem to be the case. And one more time for TXZ06, thank you. Happy to support you. I do very much appreciate the support. This is one thing. SMS Scott says, WNBA better pray CC doesn't get hurt, because if she does, all these eyes are going to tune out. Please don't even bring that up, y'all, because it's, I've seen that. No one wants that. Let's not even put that in the universe, is what I'm saying. And then I'll go back to Jonathan real quick, because I was giving him a hard time before, but he did tell me I was awesome at a prior point in the show. Theo B says, man, YouTube is being stupid and not letting me know when you go live, so I keep missing. Glad this one popped in my feed. Let me know what, how that works out. Or why that's happening. I'll try and fix it for you on my end, if there's anything I can do on my end, because of course I want you guys all in here. And Theo B has been a valued chatter. Back to TXZ, because that's a new member. Also a big Clark fan. Fever coach comment to let her get the technicals. I agree. She should pick a spot and get one, even get ejected. That would show her team she has their backs. So that's in reference to Coach Side's comments last night, basically getting on Caitlyn Clark for complaining to the officials too much, and saying, let me do that for you. Let me do the complaining for you. And some people, when you just saw the quote out of context, I thought she was really taking a shot at Caitlyn. But then I watched the whole presser, and she had Caitlyn's back earlier in the presser, saying like she's getting hit and they're not calling fouls. I'm glad this is getting through, because Kyle says I'm level-headed in my analysis, and you're the second one in this chat to say that. AJ says, Theo, check in to the channel around noon and click notify me on the show preview. So maybe that will work for you. DS asks if I still talk to Ashley Nicole Moss or Daniel McCartan. I have not. No reason why I haven't. It's nothing. No issue. Danielle was actually on a show that I did that was quasi similar to this, called Stick to Sports back in the day. And now I know she does some stuff over at WFAN. And then Ashley, I worked with at SI for a minute. She looks like she's doing well for herself now. She was always very talented. Very talented and very, what's the word I'm looking for? Strong-willed, I guess is a way to put it. And so I'm glad it's working out for her. Alexander Moises says, I'll keep watching Caitlyn Clark. I think that's the consensus, is that people will watch as long as Caitlyn Clark is playing well. Alvin says, another random, I don't know how big you are into men's basketball. Thoughts on the Lakers coaching search, JJ? It's funny because I was known for NBA coverage. I'm a hoops head. Like, that was what I was known for more than anything else. It's just this women's thing has become such a movement, and there's, I think, a need for the voices there, not as much competition there, all those things. But I really was known for talking about LeBron probably more than anything else. I got a job at SI based on a video I did on LeBron that got 10 million Facebook views, something like that. I think the Lakers coaching search for JJ Redick seems like a move made to appease LeBron. I mean, obviously, and I don't have any negative thoughts towards LeBron, by the way. That's not a shot. It's a strange hiring decision otherwise. It's kind of like the Steve Nash hiring decision. But I think the Lakers' problem is, roster, really. When you consider LeBron's age and beyond the first 3 guys on the team, I think that's their biggest issue. Jen Braga says, as long as Clark is playing, I always watch her games. Again, I think that's the consensus. Michael Dwight says, as an IO fan, don't you think if Indiana ran a transition offense like I would ran, they would be better? I mean, I said Mike D'Antoni should be their coach, so yeah. Oh, yeah, and Kevin's right. I made an appearance on Hot 97 based on LeBron talk. You can search Robin Lundberg, Hot 97. I did an interview over there with Ebro and Peter Rosenberg about that. And Peter and I were actually, it's funny because I think we were arguing about Jay-Z and Kendrick Lamar. That was in 2017. He's always been a Kendrick guy. Turned out we're both right. Top Gun says the coach needs to go. Is that so? You guys don't like the coach? I didn't know that. Kyle asks, would it be? Yes, I think it's probably more harmful to switch coaches midseason. I do. Unless things are really bad. Like, if things are really bad behind the scenes and they just hate her, then it's not bad it's better to switch coaches now. If it's just, more noise on the outside and a little unrest on the inside, then I would say it might be worse to switch coach. But if they're going to switch coaches in season, they need to do it now. Or when's the break? You know what would be a good time to do it? WNBA schedule. Indiana Fever schedule. Let me look that up. The Indiana Fever schedule. They got the Storm tomorrow, obviously. But when is that break? They have a long break. Oh, it's not as long as I thought because of the Olympics. Isn't there a break in the WNBA season? June 10th, June 13th, June 16th, June 30th, July. I thought there was a long... Oh, there it is. July 17th to August 16th. And then they play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games. 11, 12, 13, 14 games after that break. So it would only be 14 games, but that would make sense to me as to when you would want to do a coaching change. Yeah, I mentioned this before, but Temi is injured. That is a bummer. AJ makes a good point. It would be a bad look for Caitlyn if they ditch her coach after only 10 games. That's probably true. I mean, Caitlyn Clark will get the criticism for that. The media will defend sides and say she didn't have a chance. The media at large. Because that usually happens with fired coaches. And they'll be like, Caitlyn Clark is a coach killer. So, worth noting. I think that is a good point. Even if 1-7 is really bad. Janelle Jacobson says, my husband was noting price jumps when the Lynx play the Fever. a game we thought about attending. It was a little funny that prices jumped so dramatically and involves the fever Caitlyn Clark effect. No, I mean, not surprising. G. Phil Limo. The Phoenix Mercury don't have Caitlyn Clark on their team. I mean, Caitlyn Clark is a magnet for coverage. Not to say if it's the right move, it's the right move and you'll get over it. But I don't think he's wrong in saying she'll catch some heat. She'll catch some heat. All right, guys. Any other questions, comments? Get them in. Get them in. Well, I mean, they're still in. Actually, I'd have to go back and find all the old ones. Kevin asked if it's normal for people in sports media to beef with each other. They usually, I mean, it's just like life. You know, you got people you like more than others. People who are more aggressive personalities and the like. You know, I don't really have beef with anybody. I don't have much to say about Sexy Red in general. I mean, I don't have too many thoughts on. I think we all get it, and it was to get a little attention. But I don't know. Here, let me put it this way. I don't think I'll be talking about Sexy Red in a year from now. I suppose is the moral of the story. Sean Ritchie says, I would start with the coach sitting your best player on the bench the last 5 minutes of the third quarter and watching a +7 turn into a minus. Do any of you guys watch the NBA? I got to ask, because that is not abnormal for a coach. You know, that's not abnormal. Players sit. I mean, the level of competition that Caitlyn Clark is facing now versus college, it's a more strenuous game. I'm telling y'all, if she plays every minute of every game, she's going to get hurt. She's got to sit down sometimes. So it's either then or in the fourth quarter at some point. I mean, and runs happen. There are swings in games like that. They happen all the time. That's just like a normal NBA game to me. C-Man says, all good, bruh. Asia on the floor and others tonight. Watch tonight. Yeah, well, that is a good message to send out there. I would hope some of this coverage is expanding to the rest of the league. Some of the Caitlyn Clark fans, check out the rest of the league right now. Here's a scoreboard watch for you. Liberty, 49. Mercury, 44. Let me take a look at the box score right now. Who's leading the Liberty? 15 for Ionescu with 7 assists. She's 3 of 4 from 3. Brianna Stewart's got 11 points. Jones has 8. I mean, kind of the 3-star trio. The Aces and the Lynx just started. That's a blockbuster game. That's on NBA TV right now. So that would be worth checking out. That would be worth checking out. And you make a good point, Alvin, the crazy quick turnaround from women playing college NBA, WNBA. Because she was just playing. DSS, what do I think of SAS and First Take? Why does he keep on using First Take to hold grudges? Look, Stephen A. Smith, I used to produce for Stephen A. Smith as well. First time I met Stephen A. Smith, I got him a hot dog. He didn't want ketchup or mustard, just sauerkraut on his hot dog. Stephen was always cool to me. He even gave me serious props. I don't know if you remember the Riley Cooper controversy, but I did a monologue before he came on. He gave me serious props. Then never had a problem with Stephen A. He went on to become the preeminent figure in the business. You cannot take that away from him. Do I think sometimes he does too much? Yes. Do I think the industry as a whole is better for it? And did I love the way he spoke about Max, who's a friend of mine? No, not at all. I thought that was out of pocket, to be honest. Michael Dwight says your level of objectivity is very high. This makes you a very good journalist. Thank you. You know, it's funny. I never even really considered myself a journalist necessarily, but in this case, I am indeed playing or being a journalist. I didn't see. Were there a bunch of empty seats at the field house last night? I didn't see that. AJ asked if Steven's real cool and quiet behind the scenes. Like, yeah, bro. Yeah. And then when the lights go on, he blows up. Oh, this is a cool comment. Brandon 1050 says, yeah, I'm watching the New York Liberty right now because of Clark. That's what we want to see. I got to get out to a Liberty game real soon here. Got to get out to a Liberty game real soon here. But I appreciate that. And that's good to see. As is my goodness, there's a lot of activity in this chat tonight. A lot of concurrent viewers here tonight. We're, going to be in the thousands of live viewers here tonight. So appreciate that. I tried to get to as many comments as I could. Obviously, if you send the super chats, that's a guarantee your comment will get on. Appreciate the membership. Shouts to TXZ06. I appreciate that very much. Again, I'll put the super chats back up just, because I want to give them some extra love. Since we also did hear from Caitlyn Clark. I dropped her 30 playing against my own coach. Bow down. That's very funny. And Christy Sides. Talk smack now that I'm in the room, fools. And Lisa Bluter. I could outcoach Sides with my eyes closed. And then, of course, Kevin Smith liking her own burner, referencing back to the Melissa Smith post at the beginning of the show. June 30th, Fever versus Mercury. That's going to be exciting. Oh, so that's the Diana Taurasi game. We've also got the the Sky game on Saturday against Angel Reese, who's playing really well herself. Angel Reese is a beast on the boards. Whew. She gets after it. She's got a crazy motor. For all the Barbie talk and the social media stuff, on the court, she's a beast. She's a dog. She can expand her game and everything as a shooter and get better as a finisher. But just like effort, can't teach that. Can't teach that. Michael Norman adds Fag Bentley out hurts Wheeler. Although I hope it is nothing serious with family or something. But look, I hope everything is good with Erica Wheeler. It's definitely not that serious in general. The Fag Bentley injury hurts bad. Hurts the team bad. This is interesting when I compare Angel to Draymond. In some ways, yeah. She doesn't play it like Draymond, but and she hasn't done anything on the court like disruptive like Draymond, but she's fiery. And she's like, but she's more on the boards than Draymond. It's trying to think of an apt compare. Like I've said, like coming in, if you're doing the whole Magic and Bird thing with her and Caitlyn, it's more like Jordan and Barkley to a certain extent. But Angel is not playing dirty or anything like that. She just plays hard. And Draymond has all that defensive versatility, which has made him great. It's just Angel can be a little she can get involved in a little drama, but that's not on the court as much as it is off the court. As AJ says. I don't think Angel is playing dirty. I could definitely see her evolving to that. Right now, she's just hooping. I don't want to, we shouldn't be. No, I got nothing bad to say about Angel and the way she's playing so far. That's the thing. It's like so funny with the Angel Reese, Caitlyn Clark thing, where it's like, if you say, people want you to be so polarized one way or the other, that just ain't me. So I apologize. If you want me to be, I'm not going to be. I hurt your fifis. Says the internets are already coming out calling her mid. This isn't the NBA where they have plenty of stars. The WNBA only has one star right now. If Clark gets shot down, then the WNBA blew their chance. Look, I think it is important that y'all expand beyond just the Fever and Clark. I agree that Clark is the North Star and the star that has brought this attention on the league. That she is. But you want to expand that coverage. You want to start showing love to the other rookies, Angel Reese and Cameron Brink and the legends like Diana Taurasi, who's still in the league towards the end, and the real hoopers of today, like Asia Wilson and Brianna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu. I'm really impressed by Jackie Young on the aces too. Her all around game. So I think it's important. I think it's important. Because of Clark, I joined the WNBA channel. I've watched a lot of other teams now compared to the other sports channels I have. WNBA is a very good deal. Yeah, it's only like 30 something bucks, right? For the league pass, which is a really good deal. Which is a really good deal. I don't know what this guy C-Man is saying. Angel and Brink stats, bruh, don't weigh up. What? Angel Reese had a double-double last night. First rookie to have a double-double. And Cameron Brinks has had some good games. She had 3 points last night, though. I'm not sure what we're talking about. Sigmund Silber says talent and viewability are not the same thing. I don't know what that means. Okay, Lex Channel says Asia is racist. Let's not go there. Maybe Asia. Think about it from her perspective for a second here, okay? Asia Wilson has been a dominant force in the WNBA. Dawn Staley, coach of South Carolina, called her in an interview with me, called her unquestionably the best women's basketball player in the world. And she hasn't gotten even a sliver of the attention that Caitlyn Clark has gotten. Now, not to say that's wrong. Caitlyn Clark has a dynamic game. There are a myriad of reasons why Caitlyn Clark got that attention, and it is what it is. Caitlyn Clark has just gotten the attention and should get the attention. Everybody should be thankful for it. But I can see where there could be a little resentment. I haven't seen, it's not like Asia is constantly hating on her. I mean, maybe that was one comment, but for the most part, I haven't seen her constantly hate on her or anything. And when you watch Asia play, you know, she's got crazy game and she's got a big personality too. So, you know, sometimes somebody can make a comment I don't really like or agree with. Doesn't mean I'm, you know, hating them forever or never taking anything they say seriously again. So I do hope you guys expand to the rest of the league. Arike, surprised me when I tuned in. Didn't know she got busy. Like, yeah, Guamake. I know where you went. You put O there. It took me a minute to get that down. AJ with the super chat. Going back to D'Antoni, how do you think that scenario would be perceived? Step back for the movement or step forward for getting such a big hire? Yeah, I don't think it would be, you know, I think the problem is D'Antoni's age, because I think he's almost like 80 years old. And maybe, you know, so the ideal, he's 73, which is still old, and he had a bad back. But I think it would be a splashy hire, and it would get people interested. I don't think it would be considered a step back necessarily, because there are a lot of women's coaches in the league. It's not like it's a male-dominated field right now, but there are some men's coaches as well. Kevin adds, Wilson is a baller with Clark being in the league, and me following it now, it has exposed me to how good Wilson truly is. Yeah, I mean, look, she's got that touch on the face-up, and she can really move. Like, this is going to be a stray to Aaliyah Boston. I'm really not trying to, but like the gap between, like watching those two go head-to-head, the gap between Asia Wilson and Aaliyah Boston is so massive, it's like can't even be fathomed or comprehended. And Aaliyah Boston was the number one pick, right? So that's where Asia Wilson is right now. That's where their Asia Wilson is right now. I swear she didn't miss a shot in that game against the Fever. She got that like Chris Bosh kind of face-up game, the way she plays. But she can go after it. And her teammates, again, that's a stacked team. Like Kate Martin has been a nice steal for them, giving them that X factor stuff. But Wilson's a beast. The reason some of y'all are saying that Wilson ain't exciting is because she's also a big. Bigs just in general, even on the men's side, have never been the most exciting players. But Kelsey Plum is a great player. Obviously was the leading scorer in women's basketball before Caitlyn. And I love Jackie Young. She really blew me away. She's got to be up there. You know, as I'm consuming more and more of the product, I'll start giving you my rankings and the like, but she's got to be up there, best two-way players in the game. She is excellent. She is excellent. Brandon 1050 says some people have talent, but doesn't mean they have charisma. That's true. Well, Asia has charisma too. I mean, look, Caitlyn is generational. There ain't nothing wrong with that. Like, you watch Caitlyn play, you go, woo! You know, the step over, woo! Or those passes ahead, like, woo! Like, she gives you that reaction. That's why she's special. That's why she's special. But that doesn't mean some of these other players aren't great and fun to watch, too. So I just don't want to see. I think it is important. Here's how I'll spin this for you guys. For Caitlyn Clark's legacy, it is important that the WNBA grow from this moment and not like fizzle out. That helps Caitlyn Clark and the way she is perceived long term. Caitlyn Clark is super fun to watch. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. She's a hooper. All the hating on her is wrong. All the hating on her is wrong. She is a superstar. But for her fans out there that are only rooting for her and tearing others down, it is better for her if the rest of the league grows. It is better for her if more people watch other WNBA games and then look for the next group of talent, the Paige Beckers and the Juju Watkins of the world. It is better for the way Caitlyn Clark's ultimate story is written and told. And it will be told. And her shoes are going to drop, and that's going to be a big moment. And she's got lots of big moments ahead of her in her own individual career. Lots of big moments ahead of her. But perhaps the biggest thing that she can be responsible for is putting that exclamation point on the explosion of the women's game. So to the Caitlyn Clark fans out there, you don't have to find every player as entertaining as Caitlyn Clark. That's okay. No one's saying that needs to be the case. But I would, this is just my advice. You know, I'm not on a high horse. I'm not telling you what to do or anything like that. But it only helps her if she helps the game, is all I'm saying. It only helps her if she helps the game. All right, y'all. Quick. I think he'd be okay with me sharing this, but let me add this. Ryan Rucco says, "Love you doing a live show on the W." Ryan and I used to be radio partners back in the day. Of course, you can catch him on the biggest WNBA play-by-play games, and he must be catching the show right now. So shouts to Ryan. AJ, why are you talking about the price is right? The price is wrong, Bob. Oh, RIP. RIP. Michael Martin, first appearance on the show today. Crystal Bozer says, thanks for this. Great perspectives shared here. Thanks to all of you. Let me just make sure I didn't miss any super chats. No, I got all the super chats. I got all the new memberships. I play basketball on Wednesday nights myself, so I'm going to be getting to my basketball game. I appreciate all of you in here. We'll be back tomorrow night. I guess we'll do one of those kind of watch along type shows since it's during the Fever game. But check out the rest of the games tonight. The Mercury just took the lead on the Liberty, actually. Mystics ahead of the Dream, and the Aces up on the Lynx very early in that one because it's good for Caitlyn Clark. if you check out the rest of those games. And Kevin says Ruko, the GOAT, but you spelled his name wrong. Anyhow, again, guys, very, very much appreciate all of y'all. And please like, subscribe, comment. I'll get back to you later. Check out the channel. Check out the videos. And until next time, yeet.